Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Kat's Tiny Kitchen for those of you who are new, and for those of you who have been around, thank you for joining me today. I really appreciate it. You're wondering what is in the pot. That's about 3 tablespoons of olive oil, and our recipe today is going to be chicken paprikash. Now, my mom used to make this for us all the time, and I could not find her recipe. So a lot of this is going to be from memory, and I really hope you like it. So what we got going is 3 tablespoons of oil, like I said. We're getting it hot. And I've got 8 chicken thighs. When we were growing up, it was a whole chicken that was cut up and fried. But I've seasoned it with some salt, pepper, and garlic. About 2 teaspoons worth for the 8 thighs that I've got. And they are skin on, bone in. If you don't want the skin and you don't want the bone, you can actually buy the boneless, skinless. You can use chicken breast if you want to, boneless, skinless chicken breast, excuse me. And just cut down on some of the fat. I like the flavor that this skin is going to impart, the fat's going to impart, so we're not taking the skin off. So right now we're going to get this going. I'm going to start putting some chicken in here. And it's sizzling. Like I said, I've got 8, so we're going to have to stack. I actually might need some more chicken stock with this when I get it done. We'll see. If I need to, I'll get Big Bertha out, but I don't think I need to today. And this is what we're doing first. It's seasoned with my salt, pepper, garlic. If you don't have the salt, pepper, garlic, go back into my playlist and you'll find the salt, pepper, garlic recipe. If not, you can use kosher salt and pepper. And I use some coarse ground pepper. And at this point, we're going to throw some music in here already for you guys. So I hope you enjoy the music and watch the show. We've got our chicken now at a golden brown on the skin, and if you all noticed, when I started this, I put the skin side down. That gets that crisp, and it does sort of help hold in some of the flavors of the bird. So it's pretty much browned enough now, so I'm going to pull it out, pull the rest of it out. And there's a lot of chicken here. But I will probably be freezing some of it to make meals for later on. And I'm going to drain some of the oil off of this because I don't want all that grease right now. That's too much grease for what I'm going to put in next. So we're going to actually get my handy dandy spoon and pull some of this oil off of here. Basically all I'm going to do with that is let it get hard, and then I'm going to throw it away. Because the chicken isn't completely cooked, I do not want to use this any other time. Okay, so there we go. That's good enough. That's about 2 tablespoons of oil that we have left. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add my onion. And that's 2 cups of onion that I'm adding because of the amount of chicken I have. And we're going to saute this or clarify this. And once we get it clarified, we'll add our next ingredient. And it shouldn't take too long. This pan's pretty hot. I'm going to get a different utensil though. I'm using a non-stick skillet, so if you're not using a non-stick skillet, you probably won't have to cook the chicken that long. I think I did it like 5 minutes aside in mine, and non-stick does not brown very well. So if you're going to use anything, use something that's not non-stick, like I just did. It's still going to taste good. It just doesn't cook that well. Trying to bust some of these onions up. I don't break them up before I put them in the cup for you all, so pan's good and hot too, so like I said, it shouldn't take that long. And this is one of my favorite dishes when we were growing up. My mom would make this. We actually lived in an area where there was a high Polish and high Hungarian population, and this is a Hungarian dish that my mom used to make all the time, and I just loved it. Today we're going to serve it over buttered noodles like my mom used to make for us, and I'm not going to show you how to make the noodles. You guys know how to follow the package instructions. So now that we got that, they're getting there. And another minute or so. They're not quite clear, all of them, but we're still going to continue cooking them in broth, so it's not going to matter. So now that we're getting there, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of minced garlic. I'm using jarred. If you're going to use fresh, use 1 or 2 cloves. Start out with 1, and if you think it needs more, add the other one. But right now we're doing that. Give that a few more seconds to get it going. Okay, we don't want to burn the garlic, so we're going to now, the fun part, I have 3 tablespoons of paprika. This is the part of the paprikash. So I have 3 tablespoons of paprika, and I'm adding 3 tablespoons of flour. We're going to mix this up, get everything combined, let that flour and the paprika absorb the fat in the pan, which it's doing very nicely. You want to get this mixed pretty good. Now what I'm going to start doing is we're going to start adding 4 cups of stock, chicken stock, and you want to just add it gradually like I've done in a couple other recipes because you don't want everything lumpy. I've seen a lot of recipes where they dredge it and then you thicken it later. We don't do that. This is how I learned, so this is how my mom taught me, and this is how I'm showing you. Now I have a lot of chicken thighs. I have 8 thighs here. Like I said earlier, you can actually add to this, reduce it, depending on how many people you're cooking for. You know, just if you're cooking for 4 boneless, skinless thighs or breasts, just reduce it in half. And it's got a really good smell right now. Smelling really good. And again, if this is not thin enough, when I get ready to plate up, we'll take the chicken out and I'll just add a thickener, and we can talk about that when we get to the end of the recipe if I need to. Now that I've got all my stock in, I'm going to start adding the chicken back in, and again, it's going to be skin side down. Don't ask me why, that was just something my mom taught me. So we're going to put it skin side down first. And like I said, there's going to be a lot of chicken in here, so it's going to be stacking. And after about 30 minutes, come on, flip over, buddy. After about 30 minutes, I will come in and flip everything over and have skin side up. That's just how my mom did it. If you all know why it's done that way, you're more than welcome to place a comment out there. I want to make sure that these are all covered. Couple sticking out there, but again, that handy dandy, we're going to bring it to a boil. I'm going to dump some juice in here also, don't want to lose that. We're going to let it come to a boil. I'm going to turn the heat down, and I'll probably cook it on medium high for about 20 minutes, and then come back in and flip it and cook it for another 20 minutes, and then we can finish off the recipe. So while we're waiting, I will get my other prep work done, and we'll see you in a little bit, guys. Time to flip. "20 more minutes, guys." We're back, and after about 20 minutes, it got to a good boil. I flipped the chicken over so the skin sides up, and I cooked it for another 20 minutes. Hang on, I gotta get my phone to shut up. There we go. So I cooked it for another 20 minutes on a rolling boil, medium-high heat. And as you can see, there's a lot of grease in here, but that's from the skin, but that's okay because that's Flavor Town. If you're using boneless, skinless, you won't see a whole lot of that. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take the chicken out of here because I do want to thicken it. And while I'm thickening it, I have my pasta going. I've got my water going for my pasta, sorry. And once that gets ready, then we'll just continue to cook this. So I'm going to turn this up to high because I want to get a good rolling boil, and I want this to thicken. And today I'm using 6 tablespoons of flour and 8 tablespoons of water. And if you watch my last video, you're going to see that I'm using my mom's Gotta use my mom's shaker. I'll show it in here for you. Gotta use my mom's shaker. I've got that all shook up and ready to go. I'm just waiting for a good rolling boil. And I'm going to get my whisk out. And once it gets boiling really, really good, then I'm going to start whisking in the flour. We're looking pretty good right now. There we go. So now I'm going to start adding my thickener. When I do want this to come to a boil, I want it to thicken really good. And once it's done thickening, I'm going to add the chicken back into it so that we don't lose the heat out of the chicken. It's going to be a nice gravy to go over the noodles. And when we were growing up, it was always buttered noodles. So I'm going to be putting some butter on the noodles. Now it depends on the amount of noodles you're cooking as to how much butter you're going to add. But I will probably, once this is done, I'll probably add a couple of tablespoons, toss it in really quick, and we'll be ready to go. It's boiling very, very good. So now we're going to add our final ingredient, which is a half cup of sour cream. And then to keep the sour cream from breaking, because it's still a milk product, I'll probably turn this down on medium-low. Because like I said, we just want to heat the chicken through again once we get it back in the pot. So we're going to add our sour cream. And there we go. I'm going to get all that goodness off of there. And I'm going to stir this. I'm going to keep stirring this until the sour cream completely blends in with the dish. It's almost combined. And there's a couple of little bits in there of sour cream, but that's okay. It's not going to hurt anything. It'll continue to melt down once we cook. So now I'm going to add the chicken back in. Again, if you want the gravy thicker, you can. It's all up to you. Add more flour and water. Add less flour and water. It depends on what you want your gravy to be. And we're going to get this up and running here shortly. I want it to boil a little bit before I turn the heat back down. Now I've already tasted it, and this does not need to have any more salt and pepper or garlic added to it. It's very tasty, but if you get to the point when you're adding the flour, if you think it needs some more salt and pepper, go ahead and add the more salt and pepper. But right now this is pretty much really good. So there you have it, folks. Chicken paprikash, Hungarian style, the way I remember my mom made it, and it'll be served over some buttered noodles. So all we have left to do right now is to plate it up and take a picture. So with that said, I thank you all for coming along. I really appreciate it, and we will see you on the next video.